Welcome back to Star Strong Shine Bold, where we rise with purpose, lead with heart, and shine bold in every season. I'm Coach Rebecca, and today's episode is deeply personal, profoundly spiritual, and painfully relatable. We're talking about what it feels like to be used, rejected, and still, somehow, we're loved unconditionally. If you've ever felt like love was offered only when it was easy for others, if you've ever wondered why people pull close when it benefits them but disappear when you need them, then this episode is for you. Let me start with a question. Have you ever felt like a placeholder in someone else's life? Valuable when it suits them, invisible when it doesn't? I've been there. You give, you show up, you love unconditionally, but slowly you realize it's one-sided. They only respond when it's convenient. They only appreciate you when there's something in it for them. You begin to question your worth. You ask yourself, am I only lovable when I'm useful? That pain, it cuts deep. But then I look at my Jesus. On Palm Sunday, he was praised. People laid down palm branches and shouted, Hosanna. They celebrated him. They adored him. But just a few days later, some of those same voices shouted, Crucify him. He was betrayed, denied, and abandoned by the very ones who said they loved him only days before. He was used, he was misunderstood, he was rejected. And yet still, he chose love. That kind of love, it humbles me. Because if he experienced that kind of betrayal, then I'm not alone when I'm experiencing it too. I'm being honest. Being rejected by strangers hurts. But by being used and rejected by the ones who said they love me, that's a different kind of heartbreak. I've replayed the moments. I've wondered what I did wrong. I've wondered if I'm just too much or somehow not enough. The problem isn't my heart. The problem is the people who don't know how to honor it. And that was a hard lesson to learn. And here's what I'll tell you. If you're experiencing the same or you've had some of the same, your value is not tied to their convenience. Your worth is not based on their comfort. You are not disposable. You are not here to be used and set aside. You are not a seasonal love. You are a soul worth honoring. And while human love can be flawed, and while people can be inconsistent and conditional, there is one love that never fails. Jesus never walks away, even when I mess up or you mess up, even when we feel lost, even when we don't feel lovable. He still says, you are mine. He was mocked, beaten, and crucified, and yet he said, Father, forgive them. He rose again, not just in victory over death, but to show us that we too can rise from betrayal, from heartbreak, from being used and discarded and set aside, conditionally loved, all of the things. His love is not based on what we bring to the table. His love is based on who he is. And that is a truth I will never stop holding on to. So if you're listening to this and you've been used, and if you've been someone's sometime person, when you were giving them everything, if you felt cast aside by people who once called you family or friend, Just hear me out. Jesus understands, and his love is not like theirs. It doesn't fail. It doesn't fade. It doesn't depend on what you can do for him. You don't have to stay where you are only tolerated. You deserve to be in places where you are celebrated, loved, not used. Your worth isn't up for debate. And just like Jesus didn't stay in the tomb, you don't have to stay in the pain. You were made to rise above. Thank you for joining me today on Star Strong, Shine Bold. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, you may feel used, you may feel rejected, but you are always, always loved. Until next time, stay star strong and shine bold.